Alright, so we are back in Satisfactory. Last time we started work on this crystal oscillator factory, and this time we're going to finish it. And it should be relatively easy, what we have left, which means we're going to get to move on to do new stuff afterwards, which should be fun. So we have... what is it? We have Deuterium making quick wire. We have quartz making quartz crystals. We have crude oil making rubber and plastic over here. So now, what we need to do is first take the Deuterium ingots that we have here, turn them into quick wire, which is of course trivial, as long as we didn't get confused and use an alt recipe or something. No, it should be fine. So we just have to take this belt of 10, 20, 30 Deuterium ingots and feed them into, I think probably like 2 constructors, or 3 maybe. And that will make the quick wire. And it should really be just that easy. So let's get some space over here to build those. Is that enough? Probably want another row or 2, just to be sure. It's always better to build more space than you need than build less space than you need. Oh, I didn't mean to click that. Alright, so we get a constructor. Constructor makes, scroll down a little bit. Where is the quick wire? Did I miss it? Yeah, okay. I am apparently just blind. So we're going to need 3 of these, and they're going to need to be set to 50 a minute each, which actually works out for this that I don't need to merge those together, but doesn't really make a difference. Splitting them like this is also trivial. We just go boom, 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 and in you go. And that is 150 quick wire. And I guess I'll merge these up, although again, I don't know that I want to, but probably do. Alright, let's make sure to use Mark II belts for all of this. Actually, Mark III belts, because it's 150. Get a lot of quick wire out of this. Alright, so that is 150 quick wire. Then, with that, we're making AI limiters. And we need to make 10 total, which means this, instead of being 8, we're going to underclock it to 5, so that just means splitting the quick wire and plastic in half. It's just 2 assemblers. Easy peasy. So, the plastic is over here, but which one is it? So is this one the plastic? No, that one is the rubber. Which means that this one is the plastic, which is more annoying because my quick wire is over there. But we can just, I guess, just wrap this around. And round like that. And this can just come over here. And we're going to need more foundations there for that. And there you go. So now we have the plastic coming on over. Let's fill this area in so that we don't have a random hole in the middle of our factory. And then this, I guess we would actually want this to merge the other way. So let's just take all this stuff out and rebuild the other way. So we want to output like that way And then those two just go in. So these belts all go across. Make sure to use Mark 3, otherwise we're going to have mysterious problems later. Alright, now we just get our two assemblers in and link them up. Let's see here. How do we want to do this? Just like that and that. So getting the split in. It's slightly tricky to do this with two at once. We can go underground though to fix that. So then half of these go there. Half of them go there. And then the plastic can just go underneath the foundation and come up there. And we're just going to have to connect into those floor holes now. So let's come around here. We need a basic wall. And then we need to drop down, put a foundation in. And then we just come over here. And just set this up. So then we just have a splitter. Alright, splitter is in. Belt, why would you do that? Let's go into that. And then you go into that. And then we just need to bring that up here somewhere. So let's see, where would be the most convenient spot for it? I mean, basically this entire area is clear, so I guess we better do it based off of this down here. I'm just going to go out that way, line up with this, and then put the floor hole in there. And then we put the belt in, and we come up here, and we just have to attach that belt into this floor hole. So we just go like that, and then like that. And did I set these? I did not. So that's 5 each. Copy and paste. Just confirming those are all fast enough. They have to be 75. They are. Alright, so that is the AI limiters. 10 of them a minute. Then, let's see, we have rubber. We have quartz crystals. We have AI limiters. So, we go in here. Then, I guess we just have to connect these all up. And how do we want to do that? Just a whole bunch of 1 to 10 splitters would probably just be the only reasonable way. Yeah, let's do a whole bunch of 1 to 10 splitters. So we're going to need probably a new floor for this. So we go over here. And we go up a little bit. Gonna have to go up high enough to get above the refineries, which is hard to judge from where I'm standing, but the easiest way to do that will be to stand on top of the refineries and judge from here. So we get all the way up on top of this, and we do that, and that works. Alright, so now we have this floor, which we can just spread out. Use a whole bunch of concrete on that. Alright, so we have that. Then we need to get the resources up onto this. So start with these. And I guess this is going to be a logistics floor, probably. So just can send everything up directly. Alright, honestly a little bit surprised that the belts reach. Alright, so there we go. Make that a Mark II belt for the 100 quartz crystals. Then we head back here. And we need to put a floor for these ones to merge up. Actually, there's no reason for these to merge up, is there? I mean, we are going to have to split them again immediately for the 1 to 10. So yeah, you may as well just not do that. Just send them up separately. Alright, so then those go up to like there. Does that line up? It does. Then this is going to do the same. Go up to there-ish. Put that in. And connect it up. Alright, so check. Quartz crystals, check. And then we have this is the rubber. So we just need to bring the foundation over this way. And something along those lines should be enough space. And then this goes there. And we need a Mark II belt to transport 70 up. Actually, gotta make sure to do that as well. And that is all of those done. Now let's just get a ladder in somewhere so we can climb up easily. And another ladder. Alright, so this is probably going to be a logistics floor because we need to split all of these into 10. And how do we want to do that? So I guess we could send one of them up. And let's have it be these two since they require less work and split them at the last level because it's easier to split 2 things into lifts than 3. A lot easier. So then we're going to have the main floor up here with our manufacturers. And let's just put all of those in. And I don't think it really matters which way they're oriented. So we'll just have them go along like this. So let's get up here, put in more concrete. Send the concrete a little bit over this way too. Alright, so now we have a nice space here. We just need to put some production machines in. So we get manufacturer. Let's have it lined up like there. And then I guess nudge it all the way over to this side. We need to fit 10 of these in, which is not a small amount. So that's 1. And then we put that in. If we were better at splitting, we could give it 1.875 and use less of them. But this is technically more power efficient anyways. 2, Not that that's really a concern. 3, 4, 5. Actually, I wonder if power is a concern. I haven't checked it in a while. We should probably check power at some point soon. Might need an upgrade there. Hopefully not. We should still be fine, realistically. 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, and just a little bit more space over this way. Like that. And that's what? 9. And that is 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, that is 10. So now we just need to have 3 floor holes for each of these. 1, 2... Actually, no, we need 2 floor holes, because then one of them is going to be brought up to here. So these get 2 floor holes each. And then a belt set up as well. Alright. And there we go. Alright, so those are the floor holes in. Now we just confirm none of these are individually massive, so we are free to just put Mark 1 lifts in to all of these. So there we go. And a couple more. Nice and quick, because you don't have to really worry about lining them up. Alright. There we go. So that is all of those in. So then, the next step is going to be lining up the resources into these holes, and more importantly, getting this one in. So let's set up a 1 to 10 splitter here. So we're going to need a bit of space, especially around here in the middle. And then we have a 1 to 5 balancer, which I have facing the wrong way, and I hit H, so I can't undo that. Alright. I could have unlocked the hologram. I don't know why I just always instinctively clear the hologram when I have it locked, rotated wrong. Alright, so we have 2 of these, and we're just gonna put them somewhere along like this, and leave some amount of space between them so they don't have to twist completely insanely. We do that. Then we just put in a splitter, and we connect these 2 up. Alright, so that is that. And then we just have to connect these in. So let's start by getting a bit more space on the platform over that way. Then we take this one. It's going to come all the way out to... No, not there. We can nudge like that. It's Great. I feel like you didn't used to be able to nudge belts, but not going to complain. So that goes in there. Then we have this one, which has to go over that way, and then in there. Then we have number 3, and let's see, how do we do that? Number 4, I guess, is going to be like that. And number 5. So that's half of that split done. Then we have to do the other half, which is this one. That's 1. This one is a good bit less convenient in terms of its placement. That's number 2. Be careful not to run out of space here, actually. That's number 3. Should be fine, just if we were extremely wasteful with it. Could have been a problem. That's number 4. And finally, we have that one. Alright, so now we just have to make sure that all of these belts are fast, because that is a potential problem that has happened on numerous occasions, and I should just redo this blueprint with Mark IV belts so that I don't have to keep doing this. But it's fine. Alright, so then we put that in. And those. Alright, so now we just have to get any one of these over to there. And I guess that will be... Let's see, I think I want it to be one of these ones back here. Yeah, let's have it be this one. Just because... I don't know. The way I'm envisioning this logistics floor is like one of the splitters on this side of them and the other splitter on that side, and that's the only one on that side of the line. So this one is the one on this side of the line that we need to get rid of. We have a spare, basically. Alright, so now let's just build a quick path over here. And I don't actually think that this needs to be Mark III anymore, but it might need to be like Mark II or something. That goes down too low. Can't have that. That looks too high, but it's just right, apparently. Alright, so then this comes along here. And down that way. And they're all connected up. Alright, so now the last thing we need to do is this logistics floor. So we fill in that hole so we can stand here. Then we need to bring all of these down, which is also going to involve building a floor over this way for us to access. We need to get over here. Alright, so that floor is in. And should have some amount of space on either side for now. Alright, so now we just get in our 1 to 5 splitters, which I want this to be like as close up against this belt as possible, I think, just so that it's far over that way. then we have this one, which we want to be lined up horizontally with that one, but we want it to be over here. So we can just pop that in there. And then we take these two, and these are the AI limiters, I believe. So there's going to be 0 belt speed problems. There are only 10 of them total. So that can go in there. That can go over there. And just keep on going over this way. And then in. Alright, so now we just need to get one out of every batch of these two, bring it down this way, and hook it in to the splitters. Alright, so all these go in. And then go across. And we bring all of those down. Alright, so that is what we are working with here. Then this one is going to need to go over that way. And in there. Then, once that is done, we need this one to also come up, give it a little bit more space, although not much more. And then that can go in there. Then we have number 3, which, let's see, we need to come out to there, go back to default mode, so that we can do a slope, and get up over that belt. And that's not gonna work well, is it? Alright, we can have this. No, we can't. It pretty much has to be facing exactly this way for this to work. Which means, so we have to make that slope end closer to the belt. So we have that go all the way up to like there, and then over and in. Alright, success. And those are the hard ones, because they had to get over that belt. Now these ones can just go in very sort of naturally, like that. And like that. And likewise for these 5, we just go in there, in there. That's number 3. Alright, now we have to start paying attention. That one's number 4. And that is the last one. Alright, so that is that, and now we just have to do one more of these, which the tricky thing here is that it's starting from very close to the line. Starting from very close to the line. I'm just gonna have to send it back, I guess. There's no way we can make that work being that physically close. So start by expanding those out so that we have room on this side of the floor. And now we just put our lifts in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Alright, so now we need to get this on a belt. And what is this? This is the quartz crystals, so it needs to be Mark II and head off this way. I think it's the quartz crystals. It's either the crystals or the rubber. And the other one is this one, which actually... Alright, well that is set to a Mark II belt, so whichever one it is, it's fine, and whichever one this is, it's also fine. So we just need to literally just bring this belt back this way. Give us some space. And then just turn it around. Okay, so actually what we can do probably is we can split this here. Have it go like that, and then either way can split off. So then we have our 1 to 5 balancer here, which can go there. And then we connect all of these in. And actually I don't know for a fact that that's the one that needs to connect into that. I don't know which is the 5th. So that one goes all the way over there. That one goes all the way over there. That one just goes right along there. That one just goes straight along that way. Alright, now we get to be careful with spacing again. We've got to squeeze them through this relatively narrow-ish gap, but it's easy enough. And that is our first batch of 5. So then our second batch of 5 needs to come... Let's see. Did I do the math wrong? I only see 4 there. Did I miss one of these? 1, 2... Oh, I didn't, but I connected that up when that is not supposed to be an output. So we just have to readjust these ever so slightly. So then this one goes into there. And then this one goes into there. And that one doesn't exist. Alright, that is that solved. Now we come over here. And we have 2 on this side of this belt, 3 on the other side. So I guess it makes the most sense to build the splitter over this way. And we put all these in. Alright, there we go. And now we put in a splitter here, which, again, we're going to have to fit in well. That should be fine. Alright, so then this goes over the belt, and then doing whatever horrible straight stuff it does. Then this one goes up and over. Then we just have these 3 to connect in. And it should be simple for all of them. Just boom, boom, and boom. Alright. So now we have to remember to grab this splitter and bring it over this way and into that. Alright, that should be that. And all of these are set properly. They should all be attached up. So now we just have to put the outputs on and set them up. So we get, we're gonna merge them over this way because that's sort of closer to where the base of the factory is, I think. So these ones all go along. And we're going to use this little extendy out space as the output, actually. And just have these ones merging in the opposite direction. No reason we can't do that. And that is number 2. And that is the last one. And this is a total of 10 per minute, which is not incredible. Crystal oscillators are crystal oscillators. Even when you're building 10 machines of them, it's not that much. Fortunately, you don't really need a huge amount. And just having any will allow us to basically just span radar towers all over the place, which should be fun. Alright, so then these are all hooked up to this single output. So now, let's get in an industrial storage crate, pop that in, put a belt into it, and actually we need the smart splitter. So then those go across, and we say right is overflow for the awesome sink. Alright, yeah, let's just put that in like there, whatever, and then that goes there. Then we need to put in a dimensional depot and conveyor lift. And alright, so then next step is hooking all this up to power and connecting it up. So let's get in a power pole and start doing some attachments. Manufacturers are very big and take up a lot of space, so we're probably not going to use the full power pole for these, just for that reason. I like having the power pole relatively close to the machine in itself. I don't know, some people are like really particular about like power line clipping and stuff. Personally, I don't care. I just don't see it, really. Like, yeah, that power line goes straight through all those buildings probably, but am I really going to notice? No, not really. Alright, so those are the manufacturers all hooked up to the power. Now we have to take this down to the bottom floor and start hooking these machines up. So those are some packagers. Here are some refiners. Here are some even more. That's the caterium. That's the quartz. Then you go over here, and that's the quick wire. Back here we have the AI limiters. Then we move back over here. So we got those already. So that is the sink for the polymer resin. That is the heavy oil residue machinery, I think. Then those will be the packaged fuel generators. We've got those packagers already. We come back here, we get these packagers, which just complete the other side of the loop. Unpackage the fuel for use. Then we come over here, and this is the whole rubber plastic shenanigans. And is that everything? That might be everything. Relatively simple factory, honestly. Alright, now let's first check how much power does this use. 1,000-ish? Yeah, 1,100. So now we just have to bring this line down to here. And then we have to connect it up to a train station. First, let's check how's the power grid going. 17,000-ish being consumed. Capacity is up to 35,000. Max consumption is 30,000. Probably just confused. I know large numbers of train stations, it tends to significantly overestimate how much power they need, because they technically could draw a lot, but they hardly ever run. So let's grab the power line and hook it up. And now we get to see what happens. Alright, so I did preload these packagers for the canister loop. That is good. Pretty sure I also preloaded the refineries for the fuel loop. Yes, I did. We're just going to be waiting on the fuel for a bit there, of course. Alright, so these are outputting their packaged water. These are outputting their heavy oil residue. Are these running yet? They are. Packaged fuel is being produced and is being unpackaged. And then these will send the loop back around so that the canisters can go back, be refilled with water, and the cycle starts again. Meanwhile, the fuel will be going into all of these machines over here. It's going to take a little bit for that to happen properly, just because pipes have to fill. It's a relatively long pipe over there. Alright, so then elsewhere we have plenty of quick wire already coming through. Plastic, obviously, still waiting on that. And quartz crystals are going smoothly as well. Alright, this doesn't look like it's outputting it fast enough. No, it might be. Let's see. I mean, this looks a lot like a Mark I belt. It might not be. It might actually be Mark II belt speed. I would not be surprised if there was something limiting the quartz crystal throughput up here. Quartz crystals. Yes, sure enough. Or maybe not? What's going on here? Oh yeah, no, that is a Mark I belt. That is Mark II. For some reason, didn't notice. Alright, there we go. Quartz crystals have been sped up to the proper amount. And we do see rubber starting to show up. That's a good sign. So if rubber is starting to show up, then plastic probably is too. Which should mean that the factory is starting up. However, I do not actually see any plastic. Is it just slow? Yeah, okay, these are running. They got plenty of stuff. These are going along. Okay. Yeah, no, the plastic isn't getting even a single drop of fuel yet. And is that just from how this is distributing it? It's just going to be filling up these first. Gosh, fluids are weird. we are producing enough fuel, right? Yeah, 98% at least is probably good enough. This is down to 91%, which it really shouldn't be. And it could be... It's tough to tell when it's that close if the problem is there or back here. Alright, so this is filling up with packaged water and doesn't have enough heavy oil residue. So are these struggling for some reason? No, they're probably just slow to start up because fluids. I gotta love fluids. Alright, but regardless, these should be at least close enough for now that plastic should start up. Right? Any second now. We have fuel in that pipe. Oh. Is that... Did I forget to connect these up? No, I did. It just has to get all the way around here first, and it hasn't managed it. Although it has started to creep through. Alright, so that is a good sign. Because obviously this is a loop. We require it to make both plastic and rubber in order to get either. Now, the quick wire will obviously be all backed up by this point. Up to 390. And that's just because we don't have any plastic to turn those machines on. And this isn't getting enough empty canisters, potentially. Which is weird, because, I mean, it is literally just a perfect loop. I guess they're... Hang on. What? This is the one that wasn't getting enough empty canisters. This is also relatively low on canisters. And then if we go across here, this is also low on canisters. Where are all the canisters in this loop? I guess they're just all on the belt? Alright, that's fine. I mean, we can fix that by just throwing some more in there. And that should give a little bit more of a buffer. Because we don't need that many more canisters. It's clearly like almost enough. That one, see, that is low on canisters. This one has plenty and it's backing up from heavy oil residue drought. And then this one is low on canisters. Alright, so basically we just need the heavy oil residue to come through, which is 100% there and 100% there. And it's 26.25 produced each, and it's 26.25 used each. So, okay, so this is just uneven splitting, and it should fill itself out pretty fast. I mean, yes, it's gonna be fine. Just hope that it works well. Just hope that it works well. And it should sort itself out eventually, because if anytime this gets disrupted, its production slows. But the heavy oil residue production isn't gonna slow because of that, which means that every time that gets disrupted, this catches up a little bit, and then eventually it should catch up all the way and just not be a problem anymore. We do start to see plastic moving about. Yeah, just recently, actually. There's some on the belt. So that should activate the AI limiters, which should in turn activate the final result. So if we go up here, I assume we're going to have some of everything except for AI limiters. Yeah, so we have the quartz crystals, we have the rubber, we just need the AI limiters to show up, and they should be doing that any second now. Weird, sort of bursty how they show up, but that's probably, it should be fine. It should, as always, average out over time. And the plastic is starting to show up, which means any minute now. I assume these are getting it evenly. They are. Any minute now, the rest of that plastic should make its way into here and all be good to go. Now this is up in 65%, which is better, and I assume it's going to be accelerating as it goes, just as those things get sorted out. And yeah, the AI limiter assembler has turned green. That's producing. This one starts producing a moment later, and in 15 seconds, or less than that, 24 seconds per machine. And we should get AI limiters going up there, and off they go. And off they go. Alright, I just had a thought about something I may have messed up, which I don't think I did. I did bring both of these, right? Yes. I wanted to make sure I didn't accidentally just connect everything up to just one of these, which would obviously not work. We wouldn't have enough AI limiters if I did that. And there they go. Moving along. It's obviously going to be very, very slow. 10 a minute is like a sixth of a belt. Spread across 2 belts is a lot. They got a lot of distance to carry before they make it. But each one of these, right, because these only need 1 AI limiter apiece to start. Yeah, so those need 1 AI limiter each to start, which means that like each of these basically is a crystal oscillator in the future. So that is good. Drop back down here. How are these going? Up to 87%. How is the plastic doing? Still 67. And you are still 62. So these should be filling up with fuel. That is 50 out of 50. That is 50 out of 50. And that one is 50 out of 50. So we should see the fuel buffers working their way over there pretty soon. At least if this is producing 100%, which it should be by now, right? That one says 100%. That one still says 91%. This one shows 90%. How is the fuel? Yeah, so this is hogging all the heavy oil residue, but it's almost, well, it's more than halfway there, really. I can speed that up by just turning you off for a second. So now we're producing more heavy oil residue than we're consuming, which means that this will fill up faster. And once that's fully filled, then we can turn that back on again, and then this will be running at 100%. Alright, so and that's going to have the side effect of messing with this loop a little bit, but it should be fine. It'll work itself out pretty much immediately, as it tends to do. Alright, this is 26.25 surplus per minute, so in theory this should only take 1 minute or 2 to get another 20 in there. and it looks like it's filling relatively quickly in accordance with that. So that is going up to the mid-40s. And yeah, should be just a moment before we can turn that machine back on and get the factory running again 100% from this point back. Alright, so that is 50. Stay in a solid 50. We're going to let that pipe fill to the brim. And just give it another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Should be good to go now. Yeah, so that instantly fills up to like 17 and should stay up there. So obviously this will be mostly bricked until that recovers. But it should recover fast. And then our fuel will be at 100%, and that should move forwards to our plastic. Alright, feeling good about this factory. This somehow is at 74%. This one's down to 60%. A little bit worrying. Okay, then the other question... Oh, camping sticks. Thank you for the follow. Sorry I missed that a bit earlier. Alright, so let's see here. How are the supplies going? So all of these that are just sitting in the station doing nothing are good. Unfortunately, because the way I have this set up, we can't actually see how much resources are in them, but this one has drained the 3 central cars, which get less resources than the 2 outer cars because of the way I designed them. The Caterium, all the cars are totally full, which is great. And then the oil is, who knows, probably fine though. Alright, so that is that. Wait. Alright, no, so this was powered up. I just doesn't always get used because there's not always oil flowing through there. I was a bit worried when I saw that yellow, but that's fine. Alright, now we're back up here. And how is this going? Do we have to give this the same turn one off briefly treatment? I think we might want to do that. Which one of these uses the most fuel that we can turn off to get the most impact? Those two are 23 each. Are these all 23 each? No, it's just that last one is less. Alright, well let's turn you off. Because you have a lot of rubber in your internal buffer, so this won't even disrupt anything, really. Like, it should just straight up fix it. So now we just let these fill up with fuel. And let's see, how long am I gonna give this? Let's give it a minute. We're gonna do another check around to see if anything else is going wrong. How is the Caterium doing? I haven't looked at that, I don't think. 100% across the board with no potential for problems of any kind. Good to see. Alright, then we have these, which are still struggling with their plastic. That's fine. It'll work itself out now. Assuming I've done all this correctly, that is. Yeah, I guess that's another thing to check. Is this splitting being done right? So how much plastic production do we have? This is 46.667. And it just goes half into this and half into that. So that is correct and very trivial. This one is 46.667. And it is doing something funny. So, oh right, I remember what this was trying to do. Because 46 point... Oh. Okay. Fortunately, don't think I broke anything. I just started typing instead of entering this. Divided by 4 is that number. So we need to get 1/4 of it in there and the other 3/4 over there. So we start by splitting it in half. That's half, that's half. And that's a quarter, that's a quarter. So we get 3/4 there, 1/4 there. So the splitting should all be correct. Alright, now we've spent enough time confirming that. This is up to the mid-20s. This is almost up to 50. So once this stabilizes out, that should be all clear. Because once this fills... Yeah, so that's filled now, which means it's not taking any extra that it doesn't need, which means this will be getting the rest. And we should be all good to go. How is this doing on its plastic reserves? Because I did pause it while it had lots of rubber in it, so that we wouldn't have a rubber shortage while waiting on this. Still looking fine. Got another minute or two. And we're just gonna give this a second longer. And should be more than enough of a buffer. Now we click run. And the entire factory should now be operating at or near 100%. Now, we might need to wait a second for the AI limiters to figure that out and wait a little bit longer for the actual crystal oscillators themselves. But we should have some production at the very least. So let's head up and take a look at the crystal oscillators, which I don't think I've actually done really at all since we started running. And yes, we do have confirmed some crystal oscillators. But it's not much. It's like, what, 70% there, 85% there? Don't love that. 75% there. The disparity is probably just because there are so few AI limiters, and this thing takes so long to run that having one AI limiter, just like by nature of it being slightly unevenly distributed, will result in that one having a higher run percentage than the others. But should be all clear. So we have our AI limiter production, and obviously we're still working on the dimensional depot, but if we search crystal oscillator, we have 61 and counting. Counting very slowly. Yeah, okay. Who knows? But it's not very quick. It's much worse than 10 a minute at the moment, but it should be fixed soon. Like these, probably the excess plastic has caught up to them by now. Yeah, looks like it. So the excess plastic has caught up to the AI limiters, which means those should be running at 100%. They just don't know it yet. And then we just have to wait for those to propagate up to the final manufacturers. And then we have all of our crystal oscillators for at least the foreseeable future. We don't need it. We don't need a huge amount of them. You know, I had like a stash of 100 maybe from random crash sites that has lasted me all the way up to this point. But now we can do stuff without having to worry about, like, we can place radar stations everywhere. We can use all the fancy types of splitters and mergers we want. It won't be a problem. And we can place, like, billboard signs and stuff, too. That'll be fun. Alright, so that is that. And let's do a quick calc. How many boxes is this? 4, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is 48 grid squares. And hang on, how do you check how many they stack up to? So crystal oscillators stack up to 100 because I have 3 stacks. So it is 10 a minute, 10 minutes per stack. So 10 times 48, I don't know why I had to put that into a calculator, obviously it's 480. 480 divided by 60 is 8. What are the units on this? 8 hours? Right? Yeah, I think that's 8 hours to fill the entire thing, which is not terrible. I mean, we're not exactly in a huge rush to fill this entire thing, but it would be nice to start getting some tickets out of it. I have 430 tickets at the coupons. They're coupons, not tickets. I have 400 and something of them at the moment. We need to get up to a very large number so that we can get the old golden nut, which we'll get to eventually, of course. Have lots more stuff to build, lots more parts to sync. But every little bit counts. Alright, so this factory is done now. And now, let's actually take a step back and look at this, because it's pretty compact, right? Like, that's not that big at all. So, I think I want to do something I've never done before and try making this look nice, actually, instead of just being just like a horrible exposed mess. So, I don't know how to do that, but I want to try, and here we are. So, I guess, let's see, the way you start is by making a blueprint of like a wall that looks good, I guess, and just walling the whole thing in with that blueprint. I really am out of my element with making things look nice, but I know that that is the general gist of it. And probably want to tidy some things up as well. Alright, so let's get to a spot to make a blueprint. And let's just make it over here, because why not? And there's a very real chance that I just have no idea how to do this and I'm forced to give up. But it would be cool to just learn how to make something look nice live on stream. That would be fun. Alright, so we have this. And then probably we want to place an awesome shop and use all of these coupons to buy some stuff. Alright, because theoretically something in this section probably is gonna look nice. So let's take the sign bundles. And I don't know about any of those. I guess some paint finishes are probably beneficial. And maybe some different types of foundation. And some pretty patterns. and some fancy types of wall. And we buy all of those. Unlock by researching Fix-It Roof's awesome shop.
What's in this storage container? Where did you put the essential components
that
needed
was
to
a
save
thing.
humanity? Do you wish there was text to prevent you from constantly taking the wrong turn? Disguise your struggles to comprehend the complexity of your surroundings with signs.
Now we are also going to buy all of these foundations. And let's buy all of these various types of walls. And catwalks. I don't think I want the elevator. And structural. Sure, this is probably important, right? Let's just take all of those. It's a good thing I have a whole lot of coupons, or else this would be very difficult. And then obviously it's not going to be anything in there or there. There was like a couple optional roofs or something in Customizer, right? Yeah, so let's take those and purchase. Alright, so now that we have all the resources we could possibly need to design stuff with, and man, these menus have a lot more stuff in them now. Now we need to actually build a wall. So, let's see, what are there's concrete walls, there's steel walls, and then there's fix-it walls. Let's try concrete walls, I guess. And so we're going to start, obviously, with a big old wall like that. And then what I think we're supposed to have is like some sort of design. I don't know. I watched like a beginner tutorial on this like a year ago. I'm trying to remember what they did in that. And it was something like this. You just make a wall, you put a design on it, and you slap the wall all around the factory, and boom, done. They made it look very easy in the tutorial. Alright, so how about... Okay, there are all sorts of options, aren't there? How about a random metal beam? And how about another random metal beam? So if you have something like that, and then maybe we put like a window in. I have to go to that mode. Alright, what do you mean an identical buildable is already built here? I guess we have to take the wall out before putting the window in. Let's see, does that even look good? I think I want... Ooh, maybe something like this? Sure, let's do that. So then we have, you know, sort of a window every so often in our design, but not absolutely everywhere. And then let's go... What is all this? All sorts of crazy stuff in here. Alright, then we're gonna need... Alright, what are these even? Double beam connector. Guess I could slap one of these in somewhere for decoration. Alright. I really don't know what I'm doing here. But let's just... What else? What other options are there? It's pretty much these. Let's just put a beam support in. No, okay. I don't know what I'm doing here. This is not going well. Round concrete. What is this for? You could do something like that, I guess. And I guess we could do some more stuff with the metal beams. Or we could, like, have this come out just a little bit. No, it really wants those walls to go up and not out, doesn't it? Alright, can I go a half foundation? Yes, there are. Is there like a quarter foundation? Alright, so what if I do something like that? And then like a pillar or something. Like a small concrete pillar that can come down from there. And really they don't... You can't just like have them go out whatever distance you need. Let's see, small metal pillar, maybe? Alright, so we can rotate it around that axis, which really isn't the axis I want to rotate it around. And let's see, I mean, we're going to need another one of these over here regardless. Okay, big pillar support is big, noted. And then we're going to need... Okay, I have an idea. We can do that, and we can just stick a foundation under this. Like that. Like that. And like that. So then we have this sort of wall type thing. And I guess that is going to be a start. I mean, it doesn't look terrible. I don't know if it's going to look great just repeated constantly around, though. Well, we'll see. So we're going to call this fancy wall. Save the blueprint. Clear the designer. And now time to run around placing our fancy wall everywhere. Which... Alright, so this pipe immediately poses a problem. So we're gonna have to... So we can just like bring the pipe in through a floor hole or something instead of doing whatever it's doing there. So we go there. We take all that junk out. And then you come over there. And then up there. And then we just need to connect it back up again. And that's not going to snap, is it? Alright, so we're just going to have to... Oh great, it's done this thing again. God, pipes, why are you like this? Alright, so we snap that side up first. And no, it really just insists on being wrong. Alright, so we take the floor hole out. You put the floor hole back in. Now we connect it up, and it's still like that. See, why did I have to go and take out a perfectly good floor hole. Alright, maybe if I rotate it, it'll magically fix itself. And no, now it's definitely not cooperating. Alright, what if I... What if I do that? Send that up there. No, still no good. Why? What do I have to pay to make a pipe system that just works without being a problem? So then we just have to try this. Just have to try it until it works, unfortunately. And I think we may have gotten it this time. Yes. Alright, so that is that. And hopefully that didn't cause any serious issues. But the factory has been reconnected. And now we can just put fancy walls along this line. And let's see, how actually do these go in? They go in like this. And then they leave a little bit of an overhang for the pillars to stand on, but that's fine. So we just pop that in. Then we can go to build mode blueprint. And doesn't seem to be cooperating. Okay, so then we can... Build mode blueprint normally works better than that. Alright, so then we just get one more of these. And so that is what it's going to look like approximately. So now we can take a step back and see if that is good or not. So let's just get up here on top of the blueprint designer. And yeah, it looks decent. We're gonna need to figure something out for the train stations because currently it is just obviously floating. And that is going to be its own whole separate thing. But I don't hate the way that looks. Now what happens if... Okay, they really don't look good on top of each other like that because of the pillar support. So we're going to need something else entirely for the higher up floors. And probably just like cover that up with just like a boring wall. Like say this is like in the lore of this building that this area is underground and not visible. So this is just like the dirt, basically. So we are just filling all these in. And okay, we're gonna need to dismantle that poor pipeline again. This time a wall hole. Connect you in there. And then across. And we might have to decorate this phase of the building if this doesn't look right. Alright, so we have that. Then we take a step back. And I mean, it really... From a higher angle, maybe this would have worked. But from this angle, it really doesn't. Like, this is clearly an upper floor of the factory. which means we need to take out all our fancy walls. And our inventory is filled with junk. What is all this wire doing? Get that stuff out of there. The cable as well. And let's see, don't really need copper sheets. I think we want those to go back in the dimensional depot for the next time we want to build a, what's it called? Okay, actually we can probably leave those walls there and then just build the fancy walls outside of them. So let's see, if we just do that. Yeah, that's fine. Leaves a little bit of a gap there. So theoretically that would be the correct alignment. Yeah, I think we take these walls out. And let's see here. Mass dismantle time. Be very careful not to accidentally get anything important. Alright, then we're going to need to take that out again. And go back to mass dismantling all of these. And done. Alright, now that just goes into a wall hole for no reason, which is fine. Alright, so now we need to put the fancy walls down here on ground level. So where do these line up? These go back here. And I think they line up like that. And we go build mode blueprint, of course. Alright, then we're going to need... And we can probably just fit this wall hole in and have it still look good, right? So we're going to have to slightly adjust the exact location of that, but should be fine. So we just keep on moving the fancy wall across. And we get that wall out as well. And now we just have to... Do these barely not quite line up? Yeah, okay. They're just technically like a meter taller than the ground because they're sitting on a foundation in there. I think. Yeah, that's what's happening. But do they line up with like an ordinary wall that you would drop down? I guess it doesn't really matter, right? Oh, I have an idea, actually, for how to make these go taller without looking bad, but I think having too many rows of similar stuff going up is going to be a problem. But if we just take out these pillars and the foundation, then this, and we're going to have to put in the bottom row of those each time, but it should be fine. Let's try that. Fancy wall V2, save blueprint. I want to save the original in case I like it more. Alright, so then we come over here and we take fancy wall V2 and we just pop it on all of those. And then we go to what are these small concrete pillars. And no, definitely not small concrete pillars. They're small metal pillars. And why did they not line up quite correctly? Alright, they don't line up correctly for some mysterious reason. But if we were to just pretend that they did, that looks decent. If we were to pretend that they did line up, that looks decent. At least for 2 in a row. I think we're going to have something else for the third wall up. And also we need to fix whatever is causing them to not be aligned properly. Probably because I nudged them. Alright, so then we go back. We get Fancy Wall V1. And it's just going to pop in there and be fine. Then we have to put in this whole row of them. And let's just go with those 3 for now. And now if we put Fancy Wall V2 on top, 1, 2, 3, and we fill in the gaps. No, they still don't fit, and it's probably because Fancy Wall V2 doesn't have the foundations. I bet that's it. So if we just take those out, we just go back to the blueprint designer and we fix that, then it should be fine. So we put in just, how is this? Okay, actually I think I want Fancy Wall V2 to be the same, but the original Fancy Wall to be fixed. So this is a full foundation. And I think I want them to be the half foundations like the ones up there. So if that just goes in, how does that line up there but not down here? So if we just do that, I mean that doesn't work at all, does it? Can we get like a 2/3 foundation or what? Okay, I guess we have to put the full foundation in V2 then. So you get a 1 meter foundation, which is like, how was it even set up? Was it like this? Actually, let's head over here and see. So we have just the tiniest little nub sticking out the back. It's like barely past the little corner bit. Because this is obviously way too much. So we take those out. And we put this in. And it's like that. We have that in. Then that should then line up perfectly with the original wall. Alright, so now we can go back over here and try placing it in. Fancy Wall V2. 1, 2, 3. Please work this time. And let's see, it's under architecture. Small metal pillar. Yeah, and then we just need this to go down. And there we go. Alright, now they are... Now they're clipping into each other, which is causing a visual thing to happen. And, like, since the entire point of this is for it to be visually good, it's a problem. Cannot have visual clipping like that in our aesthetic construction. So we're going to have to take all of these out then and figure out what we're doing instead. Alright, maybe that? Oh, I think I might like that. Yeah, I think that's cool. It sort of matches with the windows as well. Alright, so those all go in there. And it sort of connects the two halves together just a little bit. Alright. I think I like that. However, it's not tall enough. So I need to figure out how many of these up we need to go. So we have two of them gets us to just past the first floor. Okay, there's technically a bit of clipping there, but that's not going to be visible once the whole construction is in. So if I just put another 2 of you up, and then we jetpacked up to the top, so that gets us right on level, although, yeah, so that gets us exactly on level with the top floor, which means we would need a third, I guess. And then this would get us comfortably above, although maybe not comfortably enough for that, although we're probably going to have some sort of fancy roof that we can incorporate that into. And now the problem is, so first of all, the factory isn't supposed to extend out this far. But now the problem is that this kind of looks repetitive and boring to just have, I mean, the bottom floor is technically different, but just 4 of the same thing stacked on top of each other. It's very monotonous. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to have that for the bottom 2 floors, and then swap to something else for the top ones. Although, I don't know, it doesn't really take much to just put all of these in and see what this looks like as like an entire thing. And I mean, it just doesn't look interesting. So let's take the fancy walls all down, at least the top 3. I like having bottom 2 floors of that, but we need something new for the rest of it. Also, let's tick that box so that we don't fill our inventory with junk. Alright, so what else do we want aside from this sort of pillar-based thing here? It probably still has to be concrete walls. and foundations, just to not completely mess with the color scheme. It would be weird for it to be like hot pink or something, right? So we're going to come down and we are going to make another wall. And actually this is what? It's 3 by 1, 2, 3, it's 3 by 4. Alright, so that should be easy to do. We just go 1, 2, 3 by 4. Now we need to come up with some other design for the top of this. And we have to move away from the vertical pillars, which is a shame because I like those, but they're just going to be too boring having all of them like that. So what does freeform mode look like? You can just do whatever like that, and then diagonal is seemingly the same. Alright, so we have windows like every couple there. What if up here we have just like windows just like offset in those locations? And probably the same type of window for consistency's sake. We have something like that. And then, alright, we could do like sort of like a cross there, just like an X. Is that good? Is that good? Maybe it need like some I did like these sort of horizontal row indicator things in there. So this is very different from that already, but it doesn't have any depth. It's completely flat, which definitely makes it boring to look at. What was that little puff of smoke there? That was weird. Alright, so we need some sort of depth without these vertical pillars because they don't really make sense there. So what can I do for that? Alright, so I guess the other thing is we need those to still exist like that or something, just in order to I don't know actually, do we need that specifically? Maybe we don't. Maybe we can do something different. Oh, I think I have an idea. Do the pieces exist for it? What are all these? Inverted corners. Can I rotate you to... No. So we just need a regular corner, not an inverted corner. Alright, so what if we do something like this? Like a ramp type of thing there. And then something like that. And then that will slope up and down as along the wall, right? And then we need probably something symmetrical up at the top. Alright, what if... Is there an inverted ramp of some kind? Yes, there is. So what if we... What if we do that at the top? Now this... Alright, we have to remember to nudge them in one in order to line up with the rest of them, which also I think just makes it slightly flatter, which I think is what I want. Oh wait, no, I need to actually nudge it instead of just think about nudging it and then not do it. In you go. That's just one, right? Yeah, that's got to be just one. But it should be a 2 meter ramp, just like that. And you get a 2 meter ramp nudged in by 1. And then a foundation nudged in by 1. So this should look... Well, how is this going to look? I think that might need to be a 2 meter foundation there. Because otherwise we're going to have a weird, like, minuscule gap between that and that. So if we have that, let's try this. Fancy wall V3. Alright, so now, if we pop that in there, there, and there, then that looks not terrible, but not incredible. So the problem is... Actually, let's get a second floor up of it, just so I can see what that looks like, because that's pretty important with those. Alright, I actually really like that. That looks great. Sort of like chevron type things. Now the problem is it looks magic, right? Like these things are just sticking out. They're sticking out and they're floating with no discernible reason, which is not good. So we need some sort of support. And I don't want it to be a vertical pillar because I want it to be, but maybe some degree of consistency. Let's go. Oh, maybe just take like cross things like that and bring them. So if we have something like this, no, I mean that fundamentally looks the same, right? It's slightly different than those vertical pillars, but it's basically the same, although it'll be offset a little bit. I think I want them to be diagonal. I think I want something like this. Alright. That looks better, but now I don't like this thing in the back, because that's just redundant at that point. So if we take that out, then this is... Oh, is there... There was like a beam connector, which I don't think is quite going to work because this isn't perfectly 90 degrees, so I think we're just going to leave it like that. Now we need something, like really literally anything, just on the back there, just to make it not completely empty. And maybe a vent. I like that, actually. gives just a little bit of orange color. Is that good? Is the orange color better than it being this sort of monotone, depressing gray that the rest of it is? This is a crystal oscillator factory. It should be... I don't know. It feels like of all the factories to be this boring, generic gray, this might not be the best one. But that's fine. We can deal with that, but I think then I do like the little bit of, the little bit of color with the fan, even if it's just very subtle. Is there any other good options in here? I can just stick on that. No, I think the fan is good. So let's save that as Fancy Wall V3. And now we take all of these out. And we're just going to rebuild them with the new version. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I don't know if I like the crosses stacked up like that. I think one of them looked good on its own, but like this, those floors almost sort of blend into each other because of the zigzags, but the crosses really cancel that out. So let's see what we can do about that. So we still need some sort of something there that makes it look sensible, but not quite like that. The pillars on the first two floors really helped to sort of push the idea that this is one giant building and not individual floors. These crosses do the opposite. So we might just stick to the pillars, but different. So if we just go like metal beam from there up to there. Is that going to work? No, that's going to cut off slightly before it reaches the next one. So if we go all the way from the bottom and then all the way up to the top. So it's still a vertical pillar, but it's going to be offset from the other one, right? So let's try that. So then we take all of this out. And put in the new version. And it does make sense that the pillars are smaller, probably, because they're on higher floors, so maybe they're supporting less of a load. Alright, that is better, but now, is that really lined up correctly? Yeah, it is. Alright, cool. It looked slightly funny from the front. Yeah, this underhang, actually, on the bottom floors, that makes it look like it isn't lined up, even though it is. Now, as far as the top floors go, that's better, but now the difference between the top floors and the bottom floors is very, very apparent. Okay, I have an idea to fix that. And it's unfortunately not going to be blueprintable just because it's sort of in between the two. But if we just, like, continue what we had here with the... Where are they? Inverted ramp, 2 meters. So if we just put this there and there and there, and then rotate it, and we go there and there and there. Oh, I really like that. So now it looks a lot like the floors are less disjointed, which is good. All right, let's say that that is a good looking thing. And also, I just realized I disconnected this and never reconnected it. So the way we're going to reconnect it is we just pop a wall hole in here. Can I nudge you? What's down? Page down? Control page up, just like that, so it's centered in the wall. And then the pipe is going to go in. And then up. Alright, so we have our little wall situation here. And it looks fine. It's not the most incredible thing I've ever constructed, but it works. And I mean, technically, this is the only time I've tried to build something good, so if you think about it, this is the best thing I've ever built. So now, we need to get up to the top floor and see if, there's anything up there that needs to be done. We're going to need a roof on this. And if I was a little hesitant on how to build walls, I'm very, very concerned on how to build roofs. Also, we need another layer of this, although maybe we can just... This top floor is not tall at all. We can probably just squeeze all of that in to like a reasonably sized roof piece. Alright, how do you build a roof? How do you build a roof? So it's got to be somewhat sloped, right? Let's see where... There are actually specific roof pieces in here, right? Somewhere in architecture, maybe? Yes. So there are these. And they're all these sort of diagonal bits. Alright, so now I want to build something that looks like it might be roof adjacent. Alright, so clear that one. So we have to build a roof. And just for the sake of it being a comparison, it does technically need to be taller than a manufacturer, which is like 3-ish. If it's this tall, then it's fine. Alright, so it has to be like 12 meters tall, approximately. Or higher, obviously, is fine. So if we go into architecture, and if we just do something very lazy, like just roof, 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 that's going to be tall enough. but it isn't gonna look like much of anything. And let's see, so we have this as like a theoretical roof, right? Although our previous blueprints have only been 3 wide. We haven't been using the full width. I think we're going to keep up with that here. So we have this 3 wide roof to play with here. And it needs to be tall-ish, but not that tall. And we need to make it not look terrible. How do you make a roof not look bad? What do roofs look like? I never actually look at the top of buildings, considering I normally like beneath them, you know? I mean, do they have fans sticking out of them? Maybe. Probably not. What about just high barriers? Do roofs just have high barriers in them randomly? I don't know. What if we had that? Just as like a weird little... I mean, why would you even build that, right? Like, it's just gonna catch snow or whatever. Snow or rain or whatever weather you have is just gonna get caught by that. You definitely don't want that on your roof, right? Definitely not. Alright, then what do you want to have on your roof? Maybe a modern railing? Okay, so those just sort of... What if we stuck you in like that? So it's something to make the roof more interesting. I don't know if... I don't know how to build a good roof. Let's see, maybe there's something under walls that can do this. So again, the thing is, it's got to be like 3-dimensional, and I also have to not fall off of the factory. That would be bad. Also, I'm low on fuel. Let's grab another stack of packaged fuel. So we have this on our roof. Can we put like a skylight, like a glass? Yeah, we can do a couple different types of roof. Alright, so let's just have maybe a skylight in the roof. Is that gonna look good? So we take those out and we replace them with these. And I'm having a very hard time. Alright, why does that just look like a person wearing glasses? Looks like some Minecraft face for some reason. Don't like that. Do not like that at all. Alright, maybe the roof... Here's a thought. Maybe the roof doesn't have to all be one consistent slope. So if we... Let's see. If we have, like... I don't know. Maybe this is crazy. But we have... So I don't want it to be glass. I think metal roof might look best in what I'm building here. This could be even more gray. No, I think probably just fix it roof. Just so that we can get some fun colors on this building instead of just being all the same. So we get that in. Then what if it just like has a bit of a curve to it like that? Not quite a place to stand, but you know, someplace you could stand if you needed to. And then this can be where we put the railing, like that. And so this is going to be... Oh, this isn't going to be tall enough for the manufacturers, right? We have to take that into account. And I also not sure that I care for this. I don't know. Building things that look nice is difficult. I managed to get a couple not awful designs with the walls, but the roof is definitely stumping me. We could just do a flat roof, right? I mean, we're in the... Now, this place... We could just do a flat roof. Something simple and easy. But still, obviously, like, decorated. So we would need one more of the fancy walls to get high enough up. But then we could have a roof that is foundations. Let's see, what do I want this to be made of? How is this different from the Fix-It foundation? It's not just the same thing. Okay, it's slightly different. Alright, so we could have a roof like this, I guess. And so then the roof would be like that, and then... Okay, then this one would be walkable because it's flat, so we could have maybe those along the front, and then we would need, let's make this like a 3x3 block, I guess. And then we would need to do something fancy for the corners. But in here we could have some decorative stuff just like custom placed on the roof. Like, you know, there's often sort of big boxy type things up there. And I don't know. The roof seems simplistic. Also, I've used two types of foundations. I think I like the grip metal more. So let's take the Fix-It foundations out and replace them with grip metal. Alright, so then we just grab more of those. And then save this as basic roof. Save that, clear the designer. And now we just need to get up. Fortunately, we have these nice little platforms that can help us. So up we go, and onto here, and then further up. And up one last bit. Alright, so now we need to put another row of Fancy Wall V3 in. Set it to blueprint mode so that it snaps properly. We just get 3 of those. And then we come up here. And how is the roof going to fit onto this? Is going to be the question. Let's see. So we want to have the barriers facing that way because that's sort of the angle we're looking at the moment. just have it like that. And we're just going to put in another 2 of those. So then we have these. And what does that look like from down here? Because obviously this is the view that matters. Because we're not going to be up on the roof looking at the roof that much. It looks fine. If you put just like a block of something up there that looks like it's doing something, then maybe that can look nice. And then we're going to have to wrap this around the entire outside. And then there's 2 more things that we need to worry about, which are the corners, which shouldn't be terribly difficult. We just have to get the design to wrap around. But the front, because there's drain stations in there. So what we could do is we could have this wall extend across these tracks, have some sort of, you know, garage type entrance thing in there for those, and then have all of this be considered the interior of the factory. Or we could cut off there, like have this be the edge, and then have this train stuff be considered outside. And I don't know which I want to do. I'm trying to just visualize approximately what that's going to look like. So we're going to have... Where are the walls? We're going to have some walls. And obviously it's not going to be exactly this, but it's going to go something like over here, and then down there. And obviously this is all going to be decorated, but, you know, something like that. And then just imagine that that is the entrance that the trains go into. I think that works. I think that's going to look fine. And then we're just going to have it turn, and it's going to be a big old box. But it should be able to incorporate all of this area into it, and then only have one sort of entryway type thing. So let's focus on making that entryway type thing. Is this all going to fit in one blueprint? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 7 across. Alright, what if... Is the train going to crash into that wall? And... yeah, is a train going to crash into that wall? Let's see here. It's probably... fine. It'd be nice if one of these trains were to leave right now at this moment, just so I could test it. Actually, I can just test it with a train. Alright, off you go. Is this a problem? Nah, we're fine. Room to spare. Room to spare. So then we get out, tear that train down, and we can also make this shorter if we need to. So these walls that I'm placing aren't actually what this is going to be, of course. This is just sort of a representation of what it's going to look like. Is that... that's got to be tall enough, right? Alright, put the train back in and see. In you go. And yeah, that's actually quite snug and nice. Alright. So then we dismantle you. And so this sort of garage door area needs to be... Actually, we can probably even, if we wanted to, fit that in and have it be two separate entrances. Although then, this curve coming out like this then makes that look weird. So I think it looks better as one giant entrance. So it is 2 tall by 1, 2, 3, 4 wide. And we're going to need to figure out the decoration of this little awkward space in there just manually because it's not big enough to be a full blueprint. Although, well, I mean, it's going to have to be a blueprint probably, but it's just going to be a unique one. Alright, so we have... Actually, is there a wall for this? Roll-up gate. Automatic roll-up gate large enough for all commonly used fixed vehicles to go through. So if I just stick you in there, then that actually works. And if I actually just put another one in there, I mean, that's pretty good. I would prefer it if the tracks were more central, but sometimes gotta do what you gotta do. And so this then goes out like that. Very cool. And I assume going in will also be fine. Pop a train in. And in you go. Ooh, that barely fits. Alright. Looks good to me. So that solves that problem, and then we just need to do the decorating around it. Which seems like it's going to be the harder part. I guess we just do these, right? Just like the pillars. Just bring those across. And then this. Ooh. Just something like that. Alright, then we need to put the pillars in here. Probably manually is the only reasonable way of doing it. So we get a small pillar support, and that is going to line up to here. Something like that. Is that lined up with those? It is. And it's central on that block, which is nice. Alright, then that has to go up. And not a big pillar support. A small pillar support. And that goes in. Okay, so these are all closer than that. Not big pillar, small pillar, please. And don't send me flying off the edge. Alright, so we have those. Then we get the pillars in, not facing weird diagonal ways, just something like that. And these can go 3 up. Alright, so then the next thing we need is to cover this little spot in, I guess. so we have all of this. Then we need to bring that decoration along to here. And, okay, actually, we should be able to just take that top bit of that off. Just like the top 2 rows of walls. And then hopefully we can just cover this with the Fancy Wall V2s. Alright. Fancy Wall V2. In you go. 1. And 2. And then this is still going to be that whole slightly off-center thing. But do these look good like that? Maybe we can... Yeah, if we just put the pillar supports in them, that you can just barely see that little stripe of orange, which makes it feel more complete. It's not actually lined up with the pillars beneath them, but I mean, neither of those, right? Actually, I wonder... We just do the same thing there. Yeah, I like that, actually. That looks better. I might even change that for all of these as well. So now this at least looks sort of like a thing. And then we can put... I mean, at this point, it's just Fancy Wall V3, Fancy Wall V3, Fancy Wall V3. And does that look reasonable? Yeah, I think that looks decent. We're going to need to change all of these to use the pillar supports instead of these little gray things, because that doesn't look consistent. And we might also need to move these pillars over to be aligned with the ones under them. That might be important, because as it is, this really does look sort of nonsensical. And then we also have to put these in as well. So that would go in like there. And all those just go in to bring that along. Alright, how do we... Is it possible to move these pillars over to here? If we put that in there, the train is probably still fine. I don't think it clips like that. And then we can have these pillars just line up properly instead of being wrong. So, oh, I opened my menu instead of doing whatever I was trying to do, and I almost fell off of the foundation. Alright, so then we go here. Pop a small pillar support there. And we bring you up. And does that line up? No, that one's actually too far back. Are all of these like that? Hang on. Is this entire thing technically not... No, it definitely is, right? Because these ones clearly line up across that. So what happened here? How did that happen? What on earth? Some crazy optical illusions happening. No, it's just that this one is further back. Alright. No optical illusions, just bad at seeing things. So that goes there. It gets the pillars going up. And it gets that up there. Okay, now it's too far forwards. So it's like half of a nudge off or something. This is confusing. Alright, is that it? Surely that's it. Yes, that is correct. Alright, now we stack those up for real this time. And we put the pillar support in. And that matches across, and the pillar is good to go. And then we just have to move this one over to line up with that. And I think probably just remove those two pillars since they're floating. I don't know. We'll have to look and see what they look like. Alright, so then this, where does it line up? It goes to here. And it's like that. Is that right? I think that's right. The only way to tell is to just stack it up and see. So grab the pillar supports, pop that in. Actually, can I just get all of these? Like that, and that, and that. Alright, that looks better. Alright, now I think we remove these pillars. And off we go. And then we come back. And this section looks fine now. The only thing is we need to put these supports in for all of these ones so that they all look correct, not like that. So then we just replace them, and then we take a step back. And yeah, I mean, that looks plausible, right? There's a bit of a gap without pillars, but it looks like it's supported on either side. And other than that, it looks good. So now we don't have to worry about the trains going in and out. So we have that done. And the only thing left is just filling in the corner and then the rest of the building. But it is 4:30. I've been using a part of my brain that I don't normally use playing this game. It's been a lot of fun. We finished the Crystal Oscillator factory today, and I believe it is running at 100%. Actually, let's just run in and check. Make sure that that is actually the case. And then we got, you know, we've only built one wall out of 4, but it's, you know, the first wall is the most difficult. The rest of them, we just have to do the corners and then get the roof up and then just like physically place all the blueprints, which shouldn't be too hard. Alright, so if we get up here, these all look green at the moment, which means it's probably pretty close to good. And yes, 100% there. And these are all split. So which means there's not going to be weird stuff where some of them are working but others aren't. This one's at 98%, but probably nothing. We'll investigate just to make sure. AI limiters, are you having any minor problems, or is it just like they're still catching up and it only got to 100% recently and some of them haven't quite? So that's 100%, that's 100%, yeah. So everything is good. We have crystal oscillator production complete. We have one wall for the factory done. And I mean, building that was a lot of fun. I don't know if I'm going to do this for every factory I build from now on. Very well might. We'll have to see how I'm feeling like on a day-by-day basis for that, honestly. But yes, so it's a super fun day. Did some interesting stuff that I don't normally do, and I don't know, maybe we can cook something up for the heavy modular frame factory at some point in the future. I don't know if I'm gonna go out of my way to decorate all of these, but maybe just having like a couple decorated factories will be neat. Or maybe I'll find this so fun that I just want to keep doing it. Who knows? I've never really dabbled in this before. Don't really fully understand what I'm doing. Probably doesn't look great. I don't really like these vertical beams directly in front of the vents. I think that's a little bit weird. Maybe we'll fix that in the future. But yeah, thanks everyone for hanging out. Make sure to follow if you haven't already. I'm planning to be doing probably some more decorative stuff like this in the future, but for the most part, just focusing on building big, powerful factories. So if you're interested in either of those things, make sure to stop by in the future. I also stream Factorio on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if you like a more survival-focused factory building game, then that might be interesting. And other than that, I will see you guys next time